doing a business live today, and we're doing a lot of things that are actually very interesting to me and a lot of what I do more so in my day-to-day. So essentially what this is me, you know, talking about things of how to work with the cosmos, not work against it, and kind of get in the right place in your business, right? So today we're essentially doing a little masterclass on business astrology, cosmic alignment, and we're going to go through 8 key zones or specific spaces of business, and we're going to be talking about what's the homie texting me? We're going to be talking about different planetary alignments and different phases to look out for depending on your specific needs in the realm of business, right? So this is for a lot of entrepreneurs, creators, coaches, and spiritual CEOs that want to align with different aspects of business, right? And to qualify it for you, I've done this for a couple different entities that have, millions, if not, I actually did one that actually had billions in assets under management. And I've done this for some actresses that your parents will likely know, along with some, just like regular business folk that were interested in it. So without further ado, let's get into the breakdown or I'll wait on more people to show up. But if you're just getting here and you're interested in business astrology, like the live for your boy, and so on and so forth. Getting warmed up. Getting warmed up. Let's make sure this is right. Oh yeah. Oh hey, what's going on? Like the live. Thank you. We're getting to it. We're getting to it. I got my tea. I gotta get zoomed up. What's going on? Okay. Oh, now I'm gonna say KO. That's fun. I'm saying craziness. Making them wait. Making them wait for it. Making them wait for it. Making them wait for it. Yay. Yay. Ooh. Wow. Wow. Oh, Beans, you saw me texting you. That's what's up. It's all good. Like I said, I'm appreciative of as much you show up and help me out. So, yeah, that's about it. Oh, hey, what's going on? Yeah, I'm just getting warmed up. I had a really deep sleep, so I'm not as boisterous and Aryan as I normally would be right now. Um, yeah. So yeah, no, I was just telling you what it was about since you're always on it. But yeah, guys, since a lot of people are here, let's get into it. So some of the basics of what we're going through. Um, I mean, I'm not really, I saw some Indian people telling some other Indian people here I'm not really uh, the free reader type of guy. If you want to, yeah. Honestly, like you can just spam the Alchemist Laboratory right now if you want to. Like I said, this is gonna be more technical, and I don't really have anything like directed towards, so you can just do that. But can I tell you about your love life? If you're asking, you're probably shit out of luck with it. So there's that. But yeah, guys. So we'll start now. So what we're really getting into right now is a lot of business astrology of when to do like certain alignments when, in order to understand like when it's basically just good to do certain aspects of business, right? So the list of what we're going through is we're talking about when to do collections, when to focus on employment or promotion, when to get loans, when, and then partnerships, public relations, selling, and of course signing important papers, right? So when we're talking about this, what we have going on essentially is 8 different aspects of business. And you want to pay attention to the number 8 because numerologically speaking, 8 is the number of money. And when we talk about these energies, these forms of understanding, and this aspect of astrology, it gets a bit more technical than things along the lines of like, but my love life, or things like, me, Sagittarius, is my life going to be good? And it's like, normally I wouldn't even answer that question to begin with, simply because people have no intention behind it. They have no understanding of it. They have no like thing to direct it towards, right? So it's just like, okay, whatever. I can just lie to you. But it's just like that's not like what we're talking about here, right? And it comes back to the whole main point of astrology of it's absolutely useless unless you put an intention or a container for it to be applied to, right? So there's things like that. So when we get into it, we're getting into things that are like hyper specific and very technical and more or less like this is if you have a container, right? So it's like essentially if you're using the concept of millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do, this is something that is for you. So without further ado, let us get into the first one, which is going to be collections. Okay. We'll do 7:30. So yeah, like I said, this isn't a typical topic that your average dickhead would like. So if you're interested in business, listen up. If you just want a reading about something that you're probably not going to get because you put no intention towards life and you view spirituality as some type of lottery ticket bypass, this isn't the live for you. However, there is a live like that coming up I'm probably doing it closer in early August, which is going to be Venus conjunct Jupiter, which is that like blind luck type of event because it's the two great benefics coming together and it happens like once every year to year and a half, and yeah, that's about it. So essentially, when we're dealing with collections, what we're looking for in collections is we're trying to have it on days where your sun is well aspected, and you want to avoid days where Mars or Saturn are showing up, and you also want to have the moon in a sign like Aries, Cancer, or Libra, Capricorn, any of the cardinal signs. And it's it's more difficult when we're kind of dealing with signs like Taurus or Scorpio. Leo or Aquarius, you can kind of get away with it. Mutable signs, you know, luck of the draw. But when it comes to things like that, we want like you to be seen well, and we also want people's emotional states to be in a solution focused area, right? Which is one of the cardinal signs. So when we think about that, and why we kind of want that is it's like your sun is like your support mechanism of how people see you. You are whatchamacallit, you're essentially focused on aspects that are more like magnetic when we have the cardinal signs. And essentially we're kind of dealing with like the energies of the solar plexus and creativity, right? So when we think about that, we have to look at different aspects of like what's going on and when, right? So for examples, we will be using these two examples. Let me pull it up real quick. Okay. Yeah, I know. Most people that watch this live are from India. Now let me flip the camera around. Okay, you guys can see this. Let me fix that. Um, bro, I don't care if you like get that job or not. You're not even providing me with the necessary information to even like use the tools that I have for you. So it's like you're just being lazy, dude. So I mean, maybe you will, maybe you won't. It really depends. Honestly, like we have blind luck coming up, so you might get it. But yeah. So for example, we're gonna be using this chart right here to actually see what's going on in regards to these alignments. So as you can see right here, this person's sun is on the cusp of Gemini and Taurus. And essentially, what's all required? First of all, paying for a career reading, which is link in the description. Second of all, it's like standard stuff for chart information, which is birthday, time, date, and place. But essentially what we're looking at here for collections is this person's sun is in, whatchamacallit, it's in the cusp of Gemini as well as Taurus, right? So when we go over to the alignments today, essentially what we're seeing is we basically have pretty much like a pretty good day, honestly, right? Because with the sun being in a sort of space of where it's like a sextile square, essentially like it's, how would I put this? It's whatchamacallit, essentially what we're looking for is like, I would call this a like half sextile, half square of what we're kind of dealing with right now. Honestly, it's like more or less just a sextile, which is good. And then we also have the moon in whatchamacallit, we have the moon in the cusp of a cardinal sign, which is okay. And then we also have what do we have? We have a, I guess you would call this a trine with Saturn and a semi-sextile with Mars. So how I kind of do this normally is when I create a calendar for somebody, what I do is I like basically like highlight the day as a like red, yellow, or green, and like, or like kind of cuspy. So I essentially like this day, it's like on the surface it's good, but there's a lot of like little technical aspects that are making it kind of harsh. So essentially what it is like I would compare this alignment for collections as an energy of like kind of like when you're like, it's like you're talking to someone that likes you, but they're testing you, you know? So essentially they're just going to give you a lot of BS and basically like test you to see if you're going to maintain focused and positive and caring about what you want. And they're pretty much looking for any sign to not give you what you want. But as long as you stay true, they will give you what you want. So it's like it's kind of odd. You see what I'm saying? Because it's just like it's good because like our sun is technically where like Uranus is at. So essentially it's just like if we stay focused despite the chaos, it'll give you what you want. But would I say it's easy to maintain collections in this? No, I would say it's not easy to maintain collections in this. It's not beneficial. It's not abundant. I would call this a stressful day. But if you are, you know, have enough mental fortitude, it is good. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, look at what we got here. Our sun is over here. This is where we're kind of dealing with, right? And one of the other caveats to this is you don't necessarily want to pull a business chart unless you have like, you don't want to pull a business chart unless you have like employees or multiple people in an organization, right? If you don't have multiple people in an organization, you just stick with your chart, right? Because it's basically you as a sole proprietorship. So what we have in this for collections is essentially like I said, it's going to be really annoying, mainly because Uranus is right up on our sun for this situation, right? And then we also have kind of annoying aspects with Saturn as well as Mars. So, like I said, it's not the best, but it's still pretty, like, it's still okay, you know? So, it's just kind of we'll go back to the list, right? So the list for what we're looking for, pull up over here. The list of what we're looking for is the sun needs to be well aspected. We need the moon in a cardinal sign. It has to avoid moon in Taurus or Scorpio, and avoid harsh Mars or Saturn aspects, right? So if we went through this checklist, we would essentially say that, where is it? The sun is not well aspected. It's making a direct conjunction with Uranus. The moon is technically on the cusp of a cardinal sign, but it's moving into an annoying fixed sign. Mars and Saturn are technically aspecting it, right? Because it's dealing with a cusp. It's dealing with a, we're dealing with a cuspy trine with Mars, and we're dealing with a sextile with Saturn. But so essentially the only check box is the moon is kind of okay. So it's like, if you really wanted to do it, you could have done it yesterday. But I wouldn't do it right now because people are going to be coming up with, you don't know what people are going to be coming up with right now. They're just going to be bullshitting hella hard. So with that being said, let us move on to employment, which is, I think, what a lot of you are interested in. Oh. Okay. Let's talk about employment. I'm not doing live readings, but if you want to book something, go for it. Okay, so when we're dealing with employment, once again, you want your sun to be well aspected, and you want the moon to be in your 10th house with good aspects of Venus and Jupiter to either your sun or moon. And I say both because both will be beneficial, but it depends on how you play it, right? So essentially what these energies do is they ease a sense of visibility, and they add just like general energies of ease, and they essentially help attract aligned work and recognition, right? So if we're thinking about a visualization exercise, we're doing things along the lines of like, I am seen, I am chosen, I am rising in my purpose. So that's what we're looking for. Now let us go back to different energies that we're focusing on in regards to the examples. Okay. So essentially what we got going on for this is, like I said, our sun is on the cusp of Taurus and Gemini right here. And we want the, not our moon, but the other moon to be in our 10th house, right? So our 10th house is in Cancer, as we can see. And, or actually, no, sorry, it's in Leo. My bad. It's Leo Cancer. And actually, that actually is a good alignment for us right now, if you remember from the other chart. So, let's check this out. So, right now, our sun is not well aspected. It's a bit chaotic right now since we have a direct conjunction with the sun. And what we do have, though, is we have our moon, which is moving into a good aspect, right? So, essentially, we will be seen as chaotic, but we will have a lot of good reception in terms of like, they are chaotic, but we care about them. We understand them. We want them to be cool, right? And with that, we also have a good aspect with Jupiter as well as Venus. It's in the, we have Venus in the 8th house for this sign, which is good because that's good for money and people really caring about them, but it will come with a lot of office drama around relationships and hookups, especially with Venus and Gemini. But we have Jupiter moving towards the 9th house, which makes them, you know, a lot of people seeing them as optimistic or creative or good for like a travel role, right? So if someone was, in this case, was going for a role in terms of traveling sales, or some type of traveling marketer or some type of traveling experience in that regard, I would say it's quite good. It's very specific in terms of the role that would be good for this because essentially where they're at right now is the sun will make them seem as a wild card. So it's not necessarily as beneficial as one may like. So there's that. It's kind of tough just because of that sun like making them a wild card. And once again, this is like a very direct alignment that I would avoid. For the most part, it's like unless you're going for a very specific role in the realm of sales or some type of like traveling person that is extremely adaptable and extremely capable, like a problem solver, it's not necessarily like it's not, you know, it's not necessarily what you want, you know? So it's like we're really dealing with a lot of aspects in regards to this Uranus conjunct the sun energy right now and it being the new moon. So it's we're dealing with a wild card right now, man. We don't know. But I find it quite interesting. Please tell you about your career and wealth. Yeah, listen to that reading, dude. Oh. But yeah. So in terms of like, once again, we'll go over the metrics that you want to look for. You want to make sure your sun is well aspected. In our case, no, we have Uranus on that. It could be used as good for specific traveling and sales roles. However, it's not very useful right now. The moon actually is a new moon in our 10th house, which is phenomenal for careers. And then we also have good aspects with Venus and Jupiter that are kind of, you know, cultivating the different aspects in regards to that, right? So right now the sun is well, honestly, the only thing that's an issue is the sun is not well aspected, which is huge because it's Uranus. But yeah. Anyways, let's move on to loans. So yeah, we'll do. So loans, right? So essentially what we have going on here is we have first and second quarter moons favoring the lender. We have third and fourth quarter moons favoring the borrower. As we can see right now, we have the moon being smack in the middle between its like it's moving out of its fourth quarter into its first quarter. So we're on the cusp of moving from essentially from borrower to lender. And then we need good alignments like fixed alignments and a lot of like creative alignments, which is Moon in Leo, Sagittarius, Aquarius, or Pisces, right? As well as good aspects with Jupiter or Venus. Anything like, honestly, dude, like most of these things will be good aspects with Jupiter or Venus, right? So let's take a look-sees. So we'll do it from the perspective of the lender first. So it doesn't really look like we need a lot of personal aspects. But as we can check off the boxes here, we have the moon moving into the first quarter, which will essentially be from here to here. So pretty much anything from Leo all the way through Libra will be pretty, honestly, Leo all the way through Capricorn will be good for the lender. And essentially what's going on with that is we have like it's a good opportunity for whatchamacallit. It's we're moving into a good opportunity for the lender. Right now I wouldn't say the moon is in the best space yet, although it will be. Because right now we're in 0 degrees of Leo. So it's coming up to be in a relatively okay space. Let me double check. Yeah, moon in Leo, as we can see, is going to be pretty good. And then we have, whatchamacallit, we have a lot of good energies in regards to that. Let's see if the sun as well as, okay. Yeah, we have Jupiter and Venus that are in a good space. And then, honestly, we have the moon in a good space, check. And then, what else we have going on? Yeah, honestly, like, right now, it is a pretty great time for the lender. because when it comes to term for the borrower, as we can see right here, essentially the borrower. So it's like basically the lender's space is from Leo to Capricorn, and the borrower space is from Aquarius through Cancer, right? And as we can see right here, we have Venus as well as Jupiter in good reception towards the end of the loan cycle. So honestly, it's pretty good in terms of the lender versus the borrower, right? Because it's like, as you can see right here, from the borrower side, once again, we'll look at the borrower, which is the um, third to fourth quarter moon. They're in a tough position and they feel stressed out and they're going through some hardship, but it's like once they bust their head through the chaos, they have a really good opportunity to feel good about paying back that loan. So essentially, like if we're looking at this chart right here, what we're seeing is an opportunity for the lender to help the borrower get out of a stressful space and move into a space of prosperity and goodness. And like basically like they're looking at it from the perspective of, okay, it looks like you're kind of a high risk loan right now, but I understand you're in a tough spot and I want to make it work. So when it comes to them being in a tough spot and wanting to make it work, it's like they know they have a lot of bullshit to go through, as you can see with all these planets right here. But they have an opportunity for them to essentially move up and move on in terms of what's going on in regards to like, you know, helping themselves be more successful, helping them be more powerful, helping them be more abundant, right? So they're going to go through a lot of hardship and then eventually come into a space of where they're very appreciative of that loan and providing that liquidity to whatever they're going through at that moment, right? So that's pretty much what's going on. Now, as we move on to new ventures, so when we look at new ventures, right? Essentially what we have going on with new ventures is things usually get off to a better start during the increase of the moon. And if there's any impatience, anxiety, or deadlock, it can be broken on a full moon. And then, you know, agreements can be reached essentially, right? So, once again, this is another thing that isn't really based on your chart, although good, you know, obviously good Venus and Jupiter things help. But when we move on to new ventures, and this can be anything. This can be like a new product launch. This can be a new sale. Although I would pay attention to launches, the launch section, which is I don't know, like new ventures can be considered under launches, but that's like its only thing. That was pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you were talking about it yesterday where you were explaining it to people that this isn't like an Indian astrology live where, you know, I just do an abundance of free readings for everybody. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like. I got too much going on, man. I've got time for this shit. I'm explaining an idea, and you gotta listen. But anyways, when we're doing new ventures, like it said, you want to, you know, focus on the moon's increase. So pretty much in 4 hours from right now, the moon will be increasing since we're on the new moon. And yeah, I'm sure they just flooded the market. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like. That's not me, man. You gotta pay me. But you can listen for free. I'll put out plenty of content for sure. But essentially with new ventures, like we're waiting on the moon's increase. If you're dealing with something difficult, you would yeah, I don't know. I mean, they don't, you know, they love gold, but they're only a 2% producer of the world's gold. That says something. But essentially what's going on now is like honestly right now I would be very careful about launching or like trying to break free from this specific full moon for obvious reasons. So it's like if you want to have a new venture, wait till the end of the day today or wait like 4 hours so the moon moves beyond the 2-degree mark and it is in the increasing space. Honestly, right now, I would wait till it's out of Leo. Honestly, I like really wouldn't launch anything till it is past Virgo and honestly like into the later degrees of Libra. And honestly, I really wouldn't even like I would really only do it during the Sagittarius moon, to be honest with you. And why I say that is because like on the full moon, like the full moon in Aquarius, like no, I'm not doing that. I'm not launching something in Pluto unless it is like some type of social media marketing campaign that is designed to like manage the sentiment of the masses in a way that is like going to create a new idea or ideology for me to gain control over society in like through a social media way, right? So this is like this is like some like deep dark like conspiracy theory type of shit that you would do on this full moon of where you're like launching some type of meme to get in the underlying psyche of the society to gain control over a certain aspect for business purposes, right? Because this is where we get into like the dark side of like astrology and Pluto and Aquarius, of where Pluto and Aquarius is deeply about maintaining power and control through social networks, technology, and social media, right? So, like one of the big full moon in Aquarius plays was essentially YouTube enacting that they're not paying any AI creators or faceless creators that are made with AI for anything, right? So it's like that is a very Pluto and Aquarius play. So it's like if you're not doing anything along the lines of managing sentiment of the public for some like control purpose with social media and technology, don't do anything on the full moon. You know, like don't do anything. But that's the energy that we're dealing with right here, and that's something that's like very deep and something that like is interesting of when you get into the conspiracies of like Chat GPT. Um, yeah, they weren't about to ban it. They were just they're just not paying for it. Because it's like essentially what Pluto and Aquarius is doing is making human connection and it's making human connection and energy. Uh, it's making human connection and energy like a new commodity, right? Because everything's going to be AI. And if you 20 years from now, towards the end of it, if you don't think that the AI is going to like automatically create content like right in front of you based off your facial expressions to keep you attracted to a platform, like you're crazy. Like that's definitely going to happen. So but back to new ventures and launches. In this moon cycle, like don't do any like honestly like you can get away with Libra, Scorpio if you got a specific product, but Sagittarius like if we're dealing with Sagittarius, like that's literally the only moon sign I would actually launch something in right now. Like I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't throw anything that's like stick spaghetti on the wall just because it's not working. But moving on to a bit more complex aspect of business in regards to this, which is partnerships. Write that down. So partnerships, we're dealing with any time like agreement and partnership should be made on a day that is favorable to both parties. So this is where we get like quite complex with it, because it's like Mars, Neptune, and Pluto should not be square or opposite the moon, and it's best to make an agreement or a partnership when the moon is in a mutable sign, especially Gemini or Virgo. Personally, I prefer Gemini. And the other signs that are kind of like not favorable, with the possible exception of Leo or Capricorn, to begin partnerships is when the moon is increasing in a light and favorable, right? So with all those boxes ticked, let's look at some things, right? So essentially we would take two charts. So it's like, say this is one person, or this is technically the chart of the org, and then this is the chart of what's going on. It's like you want to make sure that all the charts have good aspects, no harsh aspects. And if you have any harsh aspects in that chart, essentially what you would want to do is like put a contingency or put some type of future planning in the agreement to where it's just like, bro, it's like down the line, if we have Saturn opposed Saturn, we will fundamentally agree on the structure of honestly everything, right? Like we will see it in different ways. It may be good at first to where it's like we can kind of manage different aspects of how things are structured. But for example, if we're dealing with like a Saturn in Leo versus a Saturn in Aquarius, there's going to be a fundamental difference on like, you know, building for shine versus building for sustainability and, you know, entering into the subconscious psyche of everyone around, right? So it's like this Saturn, say if someone has Saturn in Leo, they would be super focused on the personal brand side of things. But if someone has Saturn in Aquarius, they would be focused on the shareability of the product, right? So essentially, it would come down to like, that would essentially come down to something along the lines of like, someone built a personal brand around the company, which is cool and it would definitely grow it. But if this person that wanted to create with the Saturn and Aquarius energy of having something that's like hyper shareable and takes on a life of its own, if you were in a position of where you wanted to sell the company, large private equity investors would probably not invest in that company that was on the side of personal brand, right? And this person would probably get super attached to it and think they did more and do all those things. So before you signed a partnership or a contract, you would want to be in a space where essentially like you would want to be in a space where you could basically write into the contract of like, okay, if I want to build this way, I get this, and we would make that person happy. And it's just like, okay, well, I want to build this way and have another marketing engine so that we can eventually build it up for what's the word? We could build up like the equity play. You know, we could build up the long term like sale of the business, right? So it's just like different forms that people think about, you know. So it's like it's a lot going on in terms of a chart when we are doing a business or some type of like partnership, because people will get into business with their friends and they like, you know, years later end up never being friends with them, right? So it's like a lot to get into if you actually want to build something for the long term and really come up with a proper like piece of paperwork or a form of structure that would be beneficial to both sides, right? So when we get into the more nitty gritty of it after essentially like getting through all of the partnership aspect and all of that complexity, we need to get over to the alignments that they're signing it under, right? Oh wait, wrong one. So when we talk about right now, like if we even made it through the alignments having mutual reception, right now, like this is a strong no. So this is like a red light that I would put in a calendar that I would make for somebody, right? Because look at it this way, it's right. It should be favorable to both parties. There should be no harsh Mars, Neptune, Pluto, or Saturn alignments to the moon. We already have a opposition with Pluto to the moon on a new moon. The moon is not increasing. We have a like Mars sextile the moon is okay. Neptune and Saturn trining the moon is pretty good. But we have a Pluto opposition, which is huge, right? So when I chose the energies of talking about someone, say, having Saturn in Leo versus Saturn in Aquarius, that's also like a 14-year difference in terms of what's going on. But dealing with that opposition, like, bro, people are like with that opposition and those Saturn oppositions, like that is the most harshest thing ever of where it's like the Saturn and Aquarius person will like eventually inevitably snake out the Saturn and Leo person and do some type of like backhanded equity deal, while this person is like, I focused so hard on how I wanted to push the brand through me, you know? So it's like, I don't know, it's a weird space to be in. It's weird. It's not what you want to do. So it's like, this is like a strong no for me in terms of new ventures. And then like even with the moon being in Leo and it being a new moon and a great time to like plant seeds, like it comes back to the difference of the reason why this person was like going to snake out this person is because whole time in their mind they're thinking about taking the company for themselves because they're building it from the perspective of a personal brand, which will always make them feel that they're the ones that are the key to the entire business, right? And the thing is it's just like when you make a single point of lead flow, or you make a single point of what's the word? You make like a single point of failure in terms of your entire organization's growth. It's like, one, it's selfish, and two, it's stupid, because it's like, bro, you want to just be the single point of your business's growth. You want to be the single point of your business's, like, look, like, you want to be the single point of just like everything. That's selfish, dude. That's narcissistic. You care about your ego more than you care about the success of your organization. You know? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. But moving on to a lesson that that person would need, which is PR, or public relations. Public relations is based around the moon. The moon is all about the public. The moon is, it must be well aspected, particularly by the sun, Mercury, Uranus, and Neptune. And in this case, for PR, we have all of those things. We have a conjunction with the sun, we have a conjunction with Mercury, and we have a trine with Neptune, right? So in terms of about Uranus is a little different. We have like a sextile square, so it's not the best, but it's not bad. So it's like to be blunt, like this is a phenomenal day, but there's a strong risk for that wild card energy, and by that wild card energy, I mean like it could go both ways. Like it could be someone wild coming out to support what you got going on, or like the haters just get extra loud that day and you're not going to know. But what you can guess is based off the house that your organization has these planets in, right? So for most of these planets being in Leo, if we were to go to this organization over here, Leo is in the 10th house. So right now, it's a really good day for this organization to gain a lot of status. It's a really good day for this organization to gain a lot of public reception. And when it comes to Neptune, essentially what we have going on right here, since Neptune is in Aries, which is in this person's 6th house, is this person showing a lot of routine things, or a lot of practical like ways to build your dream, right? So they have a lot of good opportunities to essentially sell them the dream, sell them the vision of you could be this by using this method, right? But the wild card that they have right here that is sort of showing up is yeah, pretty much, yeah, you can. But yeah, but the wild card status right here is the cusp of essentially the 8th and 9th house. So essentially what this organization would have to worry about is some type of like shadowy thing coming out, and someone saying like, you made me feel unstable and I am talking about it now, and this is why I felt unstable, right? So essentially like, this is my organization right here, excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. And what I've been dealing with a lot this week, my voice actually sounds clearer after the sneeze. That's cool. What I've been dealing with a lot this week is I've had a few customers come in and essentially say, like on my lives, you shouldn't treat a client like that. You shouldn't treat a client like this. And for those of you that were here, I don't think I really said anything that was, thank you. I don't think I really said anything that was that crazy. But they were coming at me saying, I made them feel bad. I didn't make them do this. I made them sad, right? And I would personally think that I handled it quite well in terms of saying, like, bro, like, I don't think I did this. And essentially what we had going on with that was, we were dealing with a couple people that were, getting into spirituality and all of those things for egoic reasons, right? But yet they were still a wild card that was coming at me because I made them feel bad. And it comes back to the classic thing of the customer is very often wrong, but it doesn't mean you don't have to make them happy, aka Leo, aka Neptune in Aries, trining all of those planets in Leo, which is in our 10th house, right? So we should always be uplifting people and making them feel good, or else in these alignments, they will make you feel as if they are a wild card coming at you, saying all these things to basically destabilize your foundation from the dark. But yeah, that's pretty much the astrology of public relations in your business. Now, as we move on to sales, selling is going to be a fun one. So, when we talk about selling is favored by good aspects of Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury to the moon. Try to avoid aspects to Saturn, and try to get your planetary ruler of your product, which is well aspected by Venus, Jupiter, or the moon. So it's like when we talk about that and we look at these things, in this case, the planetary ruler of this product, or the Alchemist Laboratory, is essentially like the Sun or Jupiter. It really depends on how you look at it, right? But it's probably like a Sun-Jupiter conjunction. So when we're dealing with Sun and Jupiter on the cusp of Gemini and Uranus, we have essentially, like, it's not bad right now. So it's I don't know, it's kind of a tough one with this. But essentially, let's go through it from the perspective of, good aspects with the moon. So, do we have good aspects with the moon? Yes. Yes, we do have good aspects with the moon right now. Because the moon, it's a new moon. It's in Leo. It has good aspects, I would say, where it's semi-sextiling. It's semi-conjuncting Jupiter, and it's semi-sextiling Venus. And it is semi-conjuncting Mercury, but that's in retrograde, right? So in terms of what planet we would use, I would definitely focus on Jupiter right now, because it has mutual reception of creating that steamy energy of getting people riled up, in the sense of, how would I say this? In a sense of really caring about their vision and their dream. And I wouldn't exactly use like a negative aspect or sales tactic with this, but what I would use is I would use like a kind of like time is running out. Like time is running out for your dreams, right? So it's like it's kind of like the best day to plant a tree is either 20 years ago or today. Like that's like the type of like sales tactically I would use for this. With the specific product that I was showing, maybe I would not use that, specifically because of the planetary ruler angling Uranus, and it like yeah, it like sextiles or semi squares this, but it's not like, I don't know, it's not the best, because it's just like you want to have good aspects. You want to avoid Saturn. If you want to avoid Saturn, you definitely want to avoid Uranus. So yeah, it's like the first order of business with selling is having good aspects favoring the moon. If you have good aspects favoring your moon, that's even better. So it's like, for example, I'm in Aries moon, and Neptune is in Aries. However, it's conjunct Saturn. So it's like with this trine right here, selling like time is of the essence is very good right now. Like I would definitely do that. But it's not necessarily going to be easy with that specific product. If you were to have a other product that was like either like Jupiterian or Cancerian, that would be phenomenal right now. But if your planetary ruler is not well aspected, I would avoid it, right? Because then it's a hard sell of where it's like, it comes back to the quote of, before you sell anything, you want to pick the boat you're rowing in. That's pretty much what it is. You want to pick a good boat, good energy, all that stuff. Oh yeah. But yeah, anybody got any questions about this? It's kind of technical, and without examples, it's not necessarily something that you what's the word? Without examples, it's not something that you want to, it gets specific. That's all I'm gonna say with that. I will take a little break before we get into signing important papers. Oh, yeah. Look, stay wild. There's that Uranus conjunction. Oh, all right. Signing important papers. Okay. So when it comes to signing important papers, oh, that's good. So you can look at this as signing contracts or agreements when the moon is increasing and fruitful, kind of like partnerships and new ventures. And you want to avoid days where Mars, Saturn, Neptune, or Pluto are afflicting the moon. Don't sign anything if your sun is badly afflicted. So this is where it's like we get a differentiation of, your planets versus the planets. So when it comes to signing important papers, off the rip, this is a terrible day. Terrible day. We got new moon opposed Pluto. In this case, the sun of my product is conjuncting Uranus, which is not good for making an agreement or having some sly things to help. And on top of that, we have Mars and Saturn and Neptune. I wouldn't necessarily say they're afflicting the moon, as you can see, because like trine, semi-sextile. So they're not afflicting, but it's like Pluto definitely isn't helping. Pluto is in a space of where it's like, if you don't sign that paperwork right or come up with a bunch of contingencies, like for someone to inevitably snake you out of whatever your vision is, of where it's like look at it this way. On a day like this, if you put something out there or you sign it, it would very likely get stolen by the public, right? So if we look at this in the form of a patent or some type of like secret sauce, today, like somehow that would get leaked to the public and stolen, right? Like this is like DeepSeek coming out. Like an alignment like this is very similar to when DeepSeek came out, right? So DeepSeek is the Chinese AI that is essentially a stolen version of Meta's Llama AI, where they just made it faster and cheaper. So they made it faster and cheaper, homie. And it obviously was shittier. The Chinese are doing what they always do, which is stealing something and making it their own in a faster, cheaper version. So essentially with this alignment, it's not that good. It's not helpful. It's not abundant. Someone will inevitably snake you out. And you're not going to know who it is because it's someone in the public, right? So it could be very well someone just talked to the wrong person, and then it got into the public ears, and someone made a faster, cheaper, but less good version, right? They made a more viral version. They made a more abundant version. They made a more sellable version. And they probably did something where they had like covered call options on knowing that this news story would take down your company. This is the type of thing that would happen on this day, right? So be careful of what you promote. Be careful of what you put out there, because what you put out there will inevitably come and either teach you a lesson on power and understanding what's going on and with how you put things out into society, or B, like a miscommunication will lead to your downfall. Like, be very careful of this day if you are going to be signing important papers in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, I don't know, that's pretty much it. One of the other highlights of signing important papers, which is contracts, agreements, so on and so forth, is just make sure the moon is fruitful. So it's like once this opposition moves on, like honestly, like once this sign gets into the late degrees of Leo, like you're good. You'll be fine. So like it's not bad. It's just not good. You know what I'm saying? And so it's literally just like wait till we get past this Mercury retrograde. Like honestly, like if you're gonna sign something, I would wait till mm, yeah, wait till the moon's in Sagittarius. So wait like 10 days. That's pretty much it. Like yeah, just like honestly, don't do anything till the moon's in Sagittarius. Don't launch nothing. Don't put out any new ventures. Don't do anything. Hold up, dude. Chill out. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Other than that, I can just hang out with y'all, talk about random astrology stuff. If you got questions about the new moon or something along those lines, let me know. But yeah, thanks for watching. This is like more of the stuff that I'm actually interested in. I don't really like doing a lot of the bullshit like tarot readings or like single sign readings. I think they're good for outreach and like getting people into the space. But like in terms of like getting deeper and like what you actually do, this is where it's at, homie. This is where it's at. It's a good day to create a new vision or marketing plan. But like this is what I was talking about with the Leo energies of returning to your childhood excitement. It doesn't necessarily mean do it. It means figure out what it is and then plan for it. So yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that ginger is hitting my gut right now. I am calm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like that Pluto opposition like it's dangerous, you know. Like I'm happy this live didn't do as well as my other ones have. Like you don't know it would bite you in the ass. You don't know. You don't know. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on today. Be careful, because it's like there's a lot of opportunity. It's just like basically it's just like don't go crazy on social media. That's all you have to do. That is all you have to do. Don't go crazy. Don't put any wild ideas out. Don't do any of that. It's real. It is real. Watch out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like today's a day. Like I say a lot of wild, out of pocket things, especially by today's standards. Today, I'm not doing that. Not doing that. You know, and that's a lot coming from me, because as wild as it may seem, as an astrologer, that's like I would say is pretty well versed in this stuff. I really should listen to this stuff way more than I actually do. You know, like I just be going out doing whatever all the time, and it's just like the universe is like, dog, you have the keys to the game. You have the keys to the game, and you don't use them. Why? And I always imagine it as well, yeah, you gotta get past that rebel stage, man, because that's like the irony in that is even when you were a rebel, your parents still controlled you. That's a big pill to swallow for a lot of rebels. That's what I'm saying. You got to go deeper. You got to go past that. What made you excited? Were you even allowed to flesh that out or experience that? Probably not. So that may be why it's hard, because you were just like programmed from the rip. And it's like, I don't know, a lot of rebels are programmed, but it's just like, you gotta do you, you know? Like, I don't know. I mean, also, I think a lot of people follow the crowd more often than they think. Yes, they 1000% did. Your rebellion was completely predicated on what they tried to do to you. Therefore, they programmed you. It just didn't work out to be what they wanted. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, everybody thinks they're a rebel, but most of them follow the crowd. Like, you're still wearing hoodies. You're not wearing a tunic. You're not dressing out in, like, 800 BC attire. A lot of people go with the crowd. Like, even I go with the crowd. Hmm. And I would say I live a pretty rebellious life, comparatively. I don't think about it like that. I just look at it as like I'm doing what I want to do, you know? But it's like at the same time, I don't have a lot of force behind my voice about saying like I do what I want to do because that typically implies that you are opposing something, which therefore means they control you. This is what I talk a lot about when I talk about paradigms, and it's, important that this is coming up on the Leo new moon oppose Pluto because yeah, you're literally draped in orange. That's funny. Um like I like it's important to talk about this on this opposition because like it's what it is. Like it's all about rebelling society's power, focusing on your own vision, doing that stuff. Mm. But it's also what I talk about of where it's just like when people talk about rebellion, they're not realizing how what they're rebelling against is still controlling them because they're still living on the same paradigm, you know? That's a huge thing that a lot of people don't understand. It's like if you truly want to rebel, remove yourself from that paradigm completely because you're more or less just vibrating on the opposite side. And what goes up must come down. So you must shift frequencies. I might take a bath after this. You know? Yeah, no, that's like a huge thing. I say that in my readings so much because like I don't know, I've just lived it so much. Of where it's like you hate being broke, so you want to be rich, so you start doing something, but you're doing it based off of the brokenness. How are you going to live a rich life based off the brokenness? Like that's the most simple explanation. I gotta make more tea and pee. I have returned. Did I gain viewership luck because I did absolutely nothing? Yes, I did. Oh, I didn't get my tea. Oh. Run, Forrest, run! That's funny. Yes, I mean, like, you know what age you gotta meditate on? Meditate on sub 6. And also aligns with a lot of it also aligns with a lot of what's the word? With a lot of, with like the time here, I got a diagram right here. So you know, you're in the alchemist laboratory, you have this whole chart and access to it. But basically, once you hit the age of 7, you experience your first Saturn square Saturn, which is, you know, it's what I write here. Essentially, it's like learning to structure yourself. So that's like the first kind of like celestial age. It's the first celestial age where you, what's the word? Yeah, good. It's the first celestial age where you like learn that like society expects things from you, so you start to form your identity around it, right? So, case in point. So that's like that's when you have to think about it. You have to think about it sub the age of 7. And like it's Leo though, you know? Like you with the energies of Leo, like, you know, Leo's the 5th sign. Think about the age 5. Just meditate on it, man. They got like shit. I'll find the. Let me find a guided meditation on YouTube. Guided meditation for childhood regression. Yeah, I mean, it's like they got hella ones that are hypnosis for. Oh, hey Mercedes, welcome back. They got plenty hypnosis things for, you know, going back to your inner child. But like, I'm looking like specifically for like the age of 5. Yeah. Yeah, it is. I also have lotion and tissues right next to my nightstand. Yeah, I know. I want to find one based on your age. Hey, man, get your crispy sock ready. Yeah, there's no age-specific inner child ones, but yeah. Honestly, like, if you just talk to ChatGPT about, like, just, like, Just like literally talk to it. Give it like a 45-minute voice note or something along those lines, and then say, based off of this, make a custom guided meditation. You know? My ears. Just get out my face. Gotta get a haircut soon. That's funny. But yeah. Yo, if you're gonna goon, at least like the live. Give me some gooner emojis. He's goon maxing. Yo, everybody's dying. Did you hear how Ozzy Osbourne got euthanized by his family? Anytime you have a strong opposition to Pluto, people are going to check, especially with the retrogrades, regressing back to their old life forms. Yo, you're a funny man. What brought you excitement in your youth? Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I was thinking about that because I was like, a lot of Leo ascendants, they think about like that's what I'm saying. Like all of their rebellion and everything they enjoy is so based on that like Scorpio fourth house. Um so yeah. Okay. Well, I mean let's extract that, right? So you're thinking about alignment. You're thinking about, the pure enjoyment of just human expression, like think about it, right? So Scorpio fourth house, your fifth house enjoyment is very fiery, but it's in the form that is opposing Scorpio, which is Aries, right? So it's very Aries Sagittarian energies. So what do you want to focus on? You want to focus on your fifth house and your ninth house. So being excited about different ideas, right? Being excited about just that pure animalistic energy of just expressing yourself, you know? That's what you hype on. So meditate on those two houses. Yo, you met them when you're... That's wild. Yep, ignoring your messages. You could say more interesting things to try to get my attention. Who's Becca? I don't know who that is. Yo, why are you asking what I drive? Oh, hey, how's it going? You showed up just for the trolling time. I'll answer that in a form of what you call it, what the Florida Jit said, which is, "Why are you in that BMW you can't afford? You need to get your ass in a Honda Accord." uh, yep, Jewish money lessons. Get out of my room, Mom. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna put in timestamps later. I'm 18, dude. This is my parents' house. Yeah, dude. My mom rings a triangle to let everybody know it's dinner time. Makes sense. Well, I'm sure you know what that means. With the 72, you should also whatchamacallit, also whatchamacallit. Yeah, have you seen the thing Midsummer? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you did make it better. I always like when people troll because it makes more comments and boost engagement. And yeah, you know, shouts out to the algorithm. I don't have to do anything to just get watch time and ad views, and also people buying my products. So thank you. Sorry, man. If I give you money, then I gotta pay OnlyFans models. Because that's where that's going. Yeah, it's a full degree of a star cycle. I don't know what game you're talking about, dude. Go watch Big Forehead Gary. He'll tell you. Big Forehead Ohio Gary. A 5-head for numerology. Hey, man, in America, the Jews always win. Wait, I forget if you're my, are you my favorite troll? I think so. Yeah, dude, I go live like almost every day now. Say something crazy. You guys work together. All right, you guys aren't boosting viewership anymore. Bye.